How you doing, family? Welcome to another Bantu-Morpheus video. Today is December 12th, and what I'm going to bring to you today is a recap focusing on my book. It's The Anatomy of Existence and the Power of Belief. The reason I'm doing this recap, it's been a while. I haven't done a movie on this topic probably in about maybe 9 to 10 months. I've been focusing more on my Bantu Tesla tech and wealth building videos, and I'll put a link in the below so that you can go and watch those videos and get up to speed on what's going on with the latest with the Tesla investments, as well as cryptocurrency and all of the other relevant stocks and cryptocurrencies that are going on, and what's the latest with all of that, and as far as for African and African Americans and the participating, the way that the information we need to have in order to be able to participate in this groundbreaking, revolutionary a paradigm shift in the way that money is going to be made, used, energy is going to be captured, used, and stored, and it's revolutionary. Okay, but for this movie, since we're going into the fall cycle, I wanted to do a recap to kind of make sure that everybody's up to speed and they know what we're going to be doing here. Okay, what we need to be focusing on during the winter solstice. Fall is pretty much gone. We're into winter solstice now. This is full ball winter solstice. Once you get into this December, January, February, this is the winter solstice cycle, quarter of the year, where it's important for you to be sowing your seeds and doing your visualizations for the things you want to manifest in your environment in the next coming year, okay? And spring, I should say, for the next spring cycle, and summit cycle, okay? But so I want to make sure that you are in sync and pull you back if you've been working with the techniques and the science that I've been presenting to you in this series. I want to recap. So right off the bat, I'm going to start off with telling you the basics. Okay? Each human being is an infinite spiritual being riding around in a finite body, physical form body. We call it a body. Okay. Now, right there, you're exposed to one of the first principles of all existence, and that is the principle of duality. Okay. And the universe set this up billions of years ago, and what it puts in motion stays in motion. Okay, so that's where we are. We're going to learn to work with what we got. Okay, we're going to master this. Okay, so duality, what does that mean? That means two. And duality also implies something that I haven't really been focusing on in the past, but we really need to focus on this. Balance, moderation. All of these things basically mean the same thing. Moderation and balance, reasonableness, level-headedness, okay, in your approach and your reaction to the stimulus that's coming at you through this physical form, which happens through the five senses, the eyes, the ears, okay, basically, okay, feeling and touch, vibrations, okay, energy that we're feeling. All of these things are sensed through this physical form vehicle. And something I have not emphasized in the past, I'm going to emphasize now. The physical form vehicle is very important. And in my past videos, I've kind of, I felt like as I reviewed those videos, I felt like I needed to refine and refine this point with you about the physical form vehicle and its priority within the scheme of this duality and this balance that we have to strike, okay, at all times, all right? But backing up, I want to talk about the spiritual being that is the being part of the term human being. Now, the spiritual being that we are is eternal, infinite, and never dies. And it is perfect, and it has no needs. This is very important for you to understand. The spiritual being that you and me are, which is the same, has no needs and is perfect, just as we describe the macro being. We are micro beings, and I talked about that in my past movies. We are micro expressions of the macro being, okay? And it is perfect, therefore we are perfect. So we are actually the macro being expressing itself on the physical plane here, okay? And our purpose is, this is my concept. Our purpose is that the macro being wants to experience something that it is not, okay? Because when you know everything and you are everything and you are everywhere at the same time, then there's nothing you don't know. There's no place for you to go because you're already where everything is. And we've talked about this in the past, right? And you know everything. That means you're omniscient. That means you know everything. Omnipotent means you can make and get whatever you want, okay? And omnipresent means you're everywhere all the time at the same time. Okay, we talked about it in the last movie, right? So how do you use that knowledge? Well, first of all, when the point of becoming awakened or self-actualized is that you want to have some internal security and peace. And that peace comes from fully embracing and identifying with the spiritual being that you are. And when you identify with that, you're accepting the concept and the belief that you can never die. Okay, and that's gonna, coming out of the Christian, Islamic, Eurocentric environment that we're exposed to, that is very difficult for most people to accept and believe. Okay, but that is what you are. That's what you are. Okay, now, so once you get comfortable and understand that reality of what you really are, it dispels all of the terror tactics that religions are designed, or by design, supposed to make you do things. Okay, it dispels all of those myths and lies that are designed to terrorize you into falling in line with the doctrines and the dictates of the religions, okay? And religions by design were originally designed to keep people in control, and to stop eating each other, stop willy-nilly murdering each other and brutalizing each other and dominating and imposing their will on you because they can. That is the definition of a brute. And brutes are typically not smart. They just do things because they can, okay? And that has evolved, okay? So going back to the spiritual being that you are, its number one driving force, as I've said in the past, is that it is concerned with only one thing: being better and expressing itself and being better at expressing itself on this physical plane. And this physical plane was created by design so that the universal spirit can finally experience not knowing. And that's why you don't really know what's getting ready to happen. It's by design. It's supposed to be a surprise. It creates a situation where you don't know what's coming. And that makes life exciting again. Where once you know what's getting ready to happen all the time, then there is no purpose in even experiencing this existence, because there is no surprise, there's no discovery, there is no journey to go on, there is no obstacles or no challenges to overcome. And you have to have these things in order that life can have purpose, okay? So when you see all of these adverse things happening to you, and you feel like there's so many challenges, it's like as soon as you solve one problem, another one crops up, that's because you're looking at it from a perspective of the flesh. See, and going back to the spirit is perfect, so it doesn't need anything. Okay, the spiritual spirit that you are also has components, a couple of components built into it. Two of those components is the subconscious mind, or what I call a subconscious machine, which is you. It's just an aspect, another department of you, okay? And it also has built into it, which you use as the spiritual being, an intuitive intelligence. That's your process of interfacing with this physical form vehicle, which has its own built-in intelligence, which is called an instinctive intelligence. Okay, again, two: intuitive intelligence for the spiritual side, and instinctive intelligence that controls the physical human form. Okay, what do you need to know about these two things? The most important thing you need to know about these two things is that the instinctive intelligence must control the intuitive intelligence. If the instinctive intelligence does not wake up, does not get awoken and reminded what its job is by some guide or leader, really mostly guides. That's what I am. I'm a guide to explain the structure of this existence and all of its components. And once you know what all the components and where all the controls and the dials and the knobs and everything and the sensors and all of the pieces, now I explain to you how to use it to your advantage and give you the ultimate control over this existence. And let me back up and talk about the infinite side of you, the spiritual being. You have you have your tool. Your strongest tool is your intuitive intelligence that controls and sits back and just watches and makes decision that decides what it wants the instinctive intelligence or the physical form to do and when it wants to do it. Now, the intuitive intelligence controls the subconscious machine that actually manufactures everything and brings it into the physical world. That includes good fortune, circumstances, movements, and processes that you want to happen. And it is unlimited in its power. And because, again, you are Ama. Ama, I don't use the term God. My African traditions, I have learned, tells me that we have always called Ama, the ultimate universal macro being. We call her Ama, if it were to be her. It has no gender. You have no gender as a micro being. You don't have a gender, okay? Your body, your human form has a gender, okay? But you as a microcosmic aspect of God, or what I call as a micro God, you have no gender, okay? So what you want, all you have to do is think it. And the subconscious machine takes that and brings it into being. How does that work? You can't think it once. You can't just see it once. You got to do things repeatedly. Why? Because of the other next law I have to tell you about. Everything in this interface dynamic between the intuitive intelligence and the instinctive intelligence, between the spirit and the human form, works on cycles. Not the spiritual being does not work on cycles. The human form works on cycles. This time-space continuum here, in order to make things happen here, the intuitive intelligence has to repeat things hundreds of times, thousands of times, for months and weeks and years, in order not to make it do, or the subconscious machine do anything, but to get the subconscious machine to get the physical form and the matter and the mass that's out here to move and be manipulated. The brain that you have, which is a physical part of the physical form. Everything about this physical form and this physical world here works on cycles. And everything in the interface between the spiritual being, which is us, and the physical world is where it has another component called dualities. And as I opened up with, dualities have to be balanced. You can't be too emotional. You can't be too strict. You can't be too somber. You can't be too dead, like you have no life. You're just a robot. You can't be too robotic. You can't be too sad. You can't be overtly happy or too much giggly and all the time. No. Moderation. Smile. Oh, wow, that's cute. And then come back to center. So you want to stay center. You're not sad. You're not making any judgments. You're not overtly happy. You just are centered in your spiritual micro-godness. And you're always functioning from a perspective of infinitude. And everything you're experiencing here is temporary. Something you use. It is created for you to use. That's why you have judgment. That's why you have the ability to communicate. everything you need, you were born with it. But you also need first, what needs to happen is you have to be awakened to what you really are and that you can never die. Without that foundational knowledge and wisdom, you will stumble and bumble through this society, and you might even stumble onto some of this information tangentially, but not without any structure or any purpose. You just figuring it out as you go. And unfortunately, the reality is at this point, the world is so sophisticated. This has been going on, this evolution of the human form being guided by the intuitive intelligence of the micro God that you are, coming into these forms. We have been doing this for let me say this different. We have been doing this for millions of years, but we weren't as sophisticated as the human form is now. It had not evolved to this level. Okay, we've only been on this level, I would say, realistically. Paleontologists go back and they look, and anthropologists go back and they say that the human form had finally began to be able to walk and communicate. I think they say maybe about, and I'll probably be a little off on this number, but that doesn't matter. What matters is that you understand the length of time that as we have been doing this just to get to this level. It's like maybe 300 or 400, 500,000 years, which is a nanite in the universe relative to time. Okay, so since we never die, we don't die. We just keep coming back. We just keep coming back. And you're going to always keep coming back. But here now, we have gotten sophisticated to the point now where we've come back so many times. We've learned to write things down. We've learned to record our experiences and pass that knowledge on through communication, through writing, through storytelling, and the oral traditions. In Africa, that's how it started. And that's how we passed information on. And by passing that information on, the education system was born. Okay, and that sped up the evolutionary process where once you came in, you manifest, you reincarnated into form. Carnate means meat or flesh. When you re-enter human form, and you do this endlessly. This will never end. Okay, but because of education and training, we now can speed up the process where you are awakened early. You don't have to stumble and bumble. You got people, brothers like me and sisters like me, who are by design. My design is to help the human, the spiritual intuitive intelligence quickly gain better control over this flesh form vehicle. Okay, and until that happens, until first the intuitive intelligence, a micro God that you are, has to be awakened and told what it is, what its purpose is, what its powers and abilities are, and that you can never die. That removes the fear and the terror of death. Doesn't exist for you. It exists for the physical form, the human form. It exists for this human form, not you. You're not the human form. You use the human form, and it must be respected and treated with compassion and utility, because without it, you cannot interact on this plane. And so you have to respect it and appreciate it by giving it good nutrition, giving it good thoughts, controlling the thought flow as much as possible. This is the frontier we're on right now. This is the cutting edge of our progress and our evolution, what we have evolved to be able to accomplish so far with controlling this human form. Very important that you understand these basic structural concepts, rules, and devices that are here to make life better and to help us have a more enjoyable life experience or life cycle. Everything is a cycle on the physical form side. This world, the air, this planet, moving around a sun in a solar system, all of this is physical because you can see it. And now that you're in this form, you can move around, you can touch things, you have 5 senses. Without 5 senses on the physical plane, you do not know that this plane even exists. Because you have to be in this form in order to see it, to hear it, to feel it, to experience it. I'm getting granular. I'm taking you to the basics, folks. And then we're going to move forward because I really want to get you to the advanced stages. But I want to cover these bases, okay? Another thing you need, another point you need to know, you need to comprehend about the this existence and evolution, the process of us getting better and being a better human beings, okay, is we never go backwards. We only evolve forward. We only evolve to a better, higher, smarter, sharper, more intuitive. We're able to express our intuitive intelligence, which will allow us to sense things on another level outside of the 5 senses on this physical plane. We can intuitively, once we get this physical form to work the way we want it, we can now express more of our intuitive intelligence and sense and pick up things on a 4th dimensional level. The 3-dimensional world is what we have: up, down, in, out, left, right. That's 3 dimensions. Spiritual, when you dream and experience things and memories and things like that, that's the 4th dimension. That's a whole nother, what we call metaphysical, because it's not physical, okay? Dualities, physical, metaphysical, dualities. Human form, spiritual being, human being, okay? Okay, that's one key point. And I spoke to you about the best way that I can easily say to you and explain to you what you are, what we are. We are micro gods or spiritual beings riding within a human form in order to have a human experience. Okay, we are spiritual beings having a human experience this time around, in this cycle, okay? And this cycle lasts anywhere between 70 and 100 years. If everything goes right and you feed your form well, you feed your body well, you do your meditations, you keep your intuitive intelligence in tight control over the physical form vehicle, then your physical form will last longer because it is being controlled and kept in harmony with the cycles of the physical existence, because this existence has cycles. So that means, okay, the cycles of the physical existence in the physical world where we can get the intuitive intelligence to give instructions to the instinctive intelligence, and the instinctive, well, let me back up. I told you about the intuitive intelligence and the two powers that you have. You have the subconscious mind, okay, or I should say you're a spiritual being that has two components to you. You have the subconscious machine that you directly control, and you have the intuitive intelligence that controls the flow of activity in the spiritual world that you are, in the spiritual entity that you are. You have to have controls. You have to have structure everywhere. And intelligence is structure, is that structure. Okay? So those are the only two things so far that we need to know and focus on the elemental level, because we want to keep it moving. Okay? So the spiritual side, the spiritual being side, the micro God side that you are, it's just those two things. The subconscious machine, which is gonna autopilot, take care of things for you on an autopilot system. And the intuitive intelligence is you deciding what you're going to project and create through this physical form vehicle by controlling your instinctive intelligence. Now, the fun comes in when you get into the physical side. We're not going to deal with the spiritual side no more, all right? Because the only thing you have to do is really, you want to meditate so you can connect this physical being, this physical form, to the intuitive intelligence of you, the micro God. See, your intuitive intelligence is the interface with this physical form, which functions on an instinctive intelligence. And that instinctive intelligence is on autopilot. And the only thing that can stop it and control it is the intuitive intelligence. You don't die, you can't die. So there is nothing on this physical plane that can hurt you, period. Like, that's why I always tell people, the Bible and the Quran and all that stuff, that was outdated. That's outdated, old school, from back in the old school, back in the day. We don't need that anymore, because this new awakening, this new knowledge is coming out that's taking us to the next level. So you got to embrace the next level knowledge so you can so you can have a next level experience. That's what the universe has set into motion, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. You either get on board with it, take advantage of it, and ride that wave onto the next level, or you just get left behind, because it's not personal. You can't do nothing to forget about God being angry and all that nonsense, that foolishness that was in those Bibles and all those other religions. Forget about all that stuff. Take all that stress and that energy and that worryation and that doubt and laser focus on what you want and how you want it to be. No more wasted energy. We are working with efficiency, efficiency, efficiency. How are we going to do that? Through wisdom and knowledge. Facts, science, both on the physical side, which is physics, and the metaphysical side, which is spiritual. Okay? But right now, the focus for this time-space continuum as of December 12th in 2021, we are focused on mastering this human form and healing this human form to make it as functional as possible. We're going to do the best we can to get the best results, okay? So I told you about cycles and the importance of cycles. Everything is cycles. And I talked about this in my last movie, so I'm not going to beat a dead horse on this too much. Go back and watch the movies and you'll see what I'm talking about. Everything is cycles. Time is in cycles. The world turns in cycles. The seasons are in cycles. Everything is in cycles. The day, the way your day runs is on a 24-hour cycle here in the West. Okay? Everything is on cycles. So when you understand that, what we must do is learn what are the cycles and how can we use this knowledge of cycles to our advantage. Okay, so since we know that the intuitive intelligence has to control the instinctive intelligence, and everything about this body works on repeated thoughts, repeated instructions, which is called a cycle of instruction, because you repeat, anything you repeat is a cycle. It has a beginning, it goes to a peak, it comes back around and it starts over again. Goes to a peak, come back around and starts over again. Everything works like that. And the way you instruct this human form to do what you want it to do, when you want it to do it, how you want it to do it, you have to use vision. You have to use feelings. You have to use thought. You have to use sound, okay? Vibration, because sounds vibrate in cycles, okay? So everything is cycles. So once you know this, you have this knowledge, and you have this wisdom. Now what you have to learn is how to apply this knowledge to get the human form to do what you want it to do, when you want it to do it, and how you want it to do it. And this is very easy. But the only reason we haven't been able to do it is because we've been bogged down in Bible, bogged down in Islam, following and following instructions that are leading you in the wrong direction, which is the wrong direction is any direction that moves you out of control of everything in your life for yourself. And that's my job, is to get you back on track, back in the center and in total and complete control. Nobody, not even me. I'm giving you instructions, but I'm telling you, go check it out with other sources. And if you validate it and find it to be true, use it to make your life better and the life of your family. You don't owe me nothing, because there's nothing you can give me that I really need, because I'm working with the big dog. I'm working with macro. I'm in harmony with the macro. I'm in harmony with existence itself and the universe. So I'm working with the max. I want you to be where I am, so you understand you don't need nothing from me, because you got everything already. You just don't know it, and you don't know how to get at it, and you don't know how to make it work. And that's my job. I'm gonna get you to make it work for you, when you want it, how you want it, and where you want it, okay? So how do you do that? You use the subconscious machine, and you use cycles, and you repeat. Once you do something and you see it's working, it's like what they say, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. And this, by the way, let me give you the context, because right now your mindset is on a video game commercial, TV commercial time clock, okay? And that time clock says everything must be instantaneously and quick. And right there, they're leading you off the path of reality and righteousness. Nothing is instantaneously and quick and fast. Stop that. First of all, what it's doing is it's teaching you never to be in the right now. It's always teaching you to be getting ready for something else over there. No. All you ever really have is right now. And if you don't like where right now is, then I'm going to give you, as I just gave you, I already gave you the tools, cycles. Put a vision in your mind. You don't like the way this is situated. Something is not right in your scene. You want to get out of it. See yourself already out of it. And then rinse and repeat until it happens in the physical plane. Now, that's the cliff note. That's how you can get anything in your life changed. Rinse and repeat. Now, I know it seems overly simple and you don't think it's possible, but unfortunately, that's how it works. Now, you can play all the games you want and you can do jive and try to cut corner and get over. You can't get over on this. This is how it works. And in fact, the people who wrote them Bibles, they know that. They're using it, but they don't want you to use it because they want to use you as a puppet so they can get their game going. And we ain't gonna have that. We ain't gonna have that. No. You're gonna have power. You're gonna have money. You're gonna have control, and you're gonna have peace and happiness and joy. And nobody can take that from you because you can never die. And if you don't get it right, that's why I'm saying you got to get into these cycles. Because once you know this is what you do. You sit back and say, oh, now I got it. Now I see how this works. And you sit back and you begin to get confident in your knowledge and your wisdom. And once you see it working, you're going to be where I am. You sit back like this. And the reason you meditate is so you can remember that this is where you always have been, right here, watching, seeing what's going on, just experiencing stuff. And if you want to accomplish a goal, apply the cycles. Put a vision in your head. Look at the seasons. Use the cycle diagram that I've given you. This is we're coming up on the winter solstice, which is when you want to plant your seeds, which is your vision. And that you see yourself already having something. And by the way, this is really, they have codified it in a law called the law of attraction and the law of autosuggestion. They're both the same thing. You repeat your vision. And now you're repeating your vision, not from a perspective of hoping it's going to work. See, what makes it work faster is when you function from a perspective of knowing without any doubt. You know it's going to work. And when it manifests is irrelevant. It's irrelevant. The point is you know it's going to manifest. That's what's relevant. And so you find solace and peace and strength and joy in knowing it's coming. And in the meantime, I'm going to sit here and enjoy right now. I'm going to be happy now because I know what's coming. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in that emotion and experience that emotion of joy and happiness and freedom now. Even though the circumstance around you doesn't necessarily appear the way you want it, that you know it's going to be when that happens. Now, this is going to take practice. And you have to understand, you're an infinite being. So that means time don't exist for you. For this physical form and this physical world, yes, time exists. Okay? But time exists, the way time exists for you is different now. Because you're never going to die. So the rush, once you get away from the television, you get away from the video games, you get away from all these people telling you what you should do, you stop that. And I want you to define everything in your existence for you. Nobody tells you what to do. Nobody tells you when to go and all that. Now, if you working for somebody else, listen, you gotta play within the rules and the context of where you are. We ain't gonna do no conspiracies here, and we ain't gonna do no crazy. I don't do crazy and I don't do conspiracy. I keep it real, and you work with what you got. You make lemonade out of lemons. If right now, if you're just picking up on this data and this knowledge and you understand how it works, listen, you're gonna step by step, slowly but surely, gain control. And it's going to work, okay? Because I'm living proof that it works. I grew up dirt poor. I mean, we were so poor, I didn't even know people wore shoes until I got almost 6, 7, 8 years old. That's how poor we were. And then when we got into Harlem, we were still the poorest people on the block. We were not from there. We were scrounging. At where we lived for the first year, when the lights went out, the rats and the roaches owned the house. We were terrified to even get up and go to the bathroom. That's how poor we were. And I'm not exaggerating. That's how it was in 1963 when I came to Harlem in New York City. And I'm proud of that. And I'm so grateful to the universe for giving me that experience, because now I can value and appreciate all of the wealth and all of the monetary wealth. Yes. But you know what? Money is not the most important thing that I value. The most valuable thing you could ever have in this existence, family, is knowledge and wisdom. Because with knowledge and wisdom, you can get anything you want. You can do anything you want. You just have to know the truth. Know your power. Know that you'll never die, and function and identify with that truth of what you are. The who of what you are is the physical form that you're born into and the name that your mother gave you, not your daddy. The name your mother gives you, the one that does the bleeding, the one that does the cramping, the one that does all of the suffering and the pain. That's the boss. And in my book, if there ever was a physical form of God on earth, it's a woman. It's a woman. What women do, men can't even come close. Can't bring no life into the world. None. Okay? Yeah, you can trigger with her help. You can trigger the action, but it's all about women. The moment we start putting women in power, this whole world is going to exponentially start to explode in growth. But you know what? I'm in no hurry. Why? I'm an infinite being. I'm never going to die. So I'm just about enjoying the ride. I'm just about enjoying the journey of overcoming challenges. Okay? And when my vehicle times out, I'm already mentally prepared. That's life. The question is Has it been beautiful for you? Are you at peace with, are you visualizing your next life and how you want that to be? In as much as you want to do that, you don't have to do that, but this is the level I'm on. I'm in the habit, after 44 years of doing this, going into the fall cycle, visualizing what I want, getting into spring and seeing what I want manifest, and then getting into the summit and seeing see it actually manifest to the fullest expression, and then falling off as what I do with the stock market. This cycle is, I mean, folks, it is spot on. Okay, and once you get it, you'll be able to get all the money you want just by using the stock market. Everything else, you use the law of attraction and the subconscious machine, and it makes everything for you, and you just sit back. Eat well, do the very best you can to eat well, think well, live well, be emotionally stable, read, watch YouTube videos, suck in and just keep absorbing all of the wisdom and knowledge that you can. And it's coming from everywhere, because the universe is dedicated to one thing and one thing only: its own preservation. And that preservation is expressed in the word evolution. And the other word for that is change. In what direction? Always for the better. Always to get better, be better, know better, do better. Okay, family? So with that basic knowledge, I just wanted to recap all of those things for you. I'm going to make sure I covered all the bases. Now, with the next movie, I'm going to go ahead and get into dominance and recessive. And again, all of the focus is on the physical form. And now the evolution of what has happened to the physical forms going throughout the millions of the hundreds of thousands of years that we have been evolving on a functional level. I'm not going to go back to when we were crawling on all fours and we were cytoplasmic goo swimming in the oceans and didn't have any intuitive intelligence of any kind. We hadn't evolved the physical form or gotten the intuitive intelligence, or even have the instinctive intelligence evolve to a functional level. The intuitive intelligence has always been perfect in what it is, but the instinctive intelligence had not evolved to the functional level where it could be utilized and talked to and expressed and interfaced with by the intuitive intelligence. You got to understand that, folks. The physical form is it's transitory, it's fleeting, it's temporary. It's like RAM memory. It's not permanent. It comes, you use it, and as soon as you cut the power off, as soon as you leave, everything dies, because without you, nothing works. We're the battery, we're the power, we're the electricity that creates movement and life itself. And that is the spirit of the universal being making the decision to set in motion that you will peel off a part of itself and create you, the micro God. And you will now create for the macro a complete, endless cycle of journeys that the macro wanted. And so it is. Okay? And that's what you need to understand about the system. This is the anatomy of existence that I'm talking about. And I've hinted at the power of belief when I told you about once you take that experience and you inculcate it into your life and it becomes known knowledge. and you believe it because you have utilized it as you were instructed and you've gotten the results. So you have validated the knowledge. And that is what I say you must always do. Validate, validate, validate. And once you don't have to do this forever. You have to do it within a reasonable amount of time. And you make the decision. Because what's good for you is you're in a different human form than I am in. The intuitive intelligence that I am is expressing itself through this vehicle the best it can, but that's only unique to this vehicle. But we're similar because all human vehicles are similar, but your vehicle may have, your person may have a different attribute, a different specialty that is designed to make better life for all other human forms. See, we're in a community because we have come from one spirit. So that one unified spirit unifies all of us. See, when you understand this, the concept of race and supremacy is gone. The only thing that matters is what is best to get us to move to the next level, which is living in harmony with the will of the universe. And that is in harmony. As long as you're in harmony with evolution and change, you're going to always be fine. And nobody can stop you because you cannot stop evolution. It will mow people down who try to, they've tried it over and over, they've tried to take over the whole world, failed. Kept it for a little while, but ultimately failed. Why? Because of evolution. Change is not going to allow you to dominate. It's not for long. Your best bet is to get in harmony with whatever's going on at the time. Be as organized, get in there, pitch in, and help keep things organized. And you want decency? Be decent. You want righteousness? Be righteous. You want a harmonious existence where people are safe and secure and free and liberated to do the best they can do and be the best they can be, then you got to be in there getting to work at all times. And I'm going to tell you something, I'm going to do my job. My job is to make sure that you have this knowledge and this wisdom, and I'm going to do my job. Okay? So this dominant and recessive thing that has come into existence as a result of the Ice Age and the mutated humans that have come into existence due to the Ice Age and certain things that have happened on this planet and again, this human form works on this planet, okay? You go to another planet, this human form was not designed to work on another planet. Now you can go there, but you better have all the apparatus to mimic this environment on this planet. Okay, you can go do whatever you want to do, but be very clear. It's about the physical form, not you. You can't die. We can't die. We don't die. Physical form might, die and expire. We don't die. So I'm not bent out of shape over people going to other planets. That's what they want to do. Let them do it. See, it's a live and let live world. We don't die. Don't care. Not going to get bogged down into judging people and telling them what they should or should not do. Let them do it. It's just another experience. See, this is we have to get into live and let live, family. This is what we got to get into. And you know what? Your body is going to be healthier because you're going to stop trying to control every doggone thing. Only thing you need to be getting into control is this right here. Getting within this thing here and getting that instinctive intelligence under your total and complete control. And once you do that, your joy and your happiness is going to explode because your boundaries are clear. Compassionate with others, absolutely. Why? Because you know how this works. You know you can never die. So being compassionate, being protective of others, getting your skills together so you can expand your sphere of protection and structure and strength and control for decency's sake and for righteousness' sake. You have to have an element of that built into the functional environment that you must build and make it better every day. Okay, and what's going to give you strength is meditating, tapping into your intuitive intelligence. Stop functioning from the physical form and just go back and feel yourself as the watcher. And tap into your macro self, which is always there, just watching, doesn't move, doesn't need to go anywhere, don't need nothing, don't need you to pray to it, all that nonsense of praying to God. Stop all that. You don't need that. God don't need the macro. Our Father, our Mother, our universal spirit don't need nothing from us. Stop that nonsense. You're wasting your time because it's a contradiction in and of itself. You're saying that God is almighty. Amma is the ultimate. Everywhere at the same time, omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient. Well, then why does it need anything from you? It's just, family, it's a matrix of lies, myths, and nonsense designed to bog your mind down and have you in a position where everybody outside of you is controlling everything. And we ain't gonna have that. I'm not gonna allow that. I'm not gonna allow you to live like that for another second. I want you to have the best life that you are, by design, you are here to have and experience. See, by doing that, we're in harmony with the universe. So your good fortune is going to explode. Your peace of mind is going to expand. And the longevity of your human form is going to expand. Because everything you're doing is about getting better and being better and knowing better. Okay, family? So in the next movie, we're going to get into this dominant and recessive duality. Okay, again, and what do we have to always remember? Every duality must be balanced. That's called the path of righteousness. Ma'at, balance, okay? And you always don't want to be too overtly righteous, and you absolutely don't want to be unrighteous. Well, unrighteous is just a matter of people learning and making mistakes and the human form just dysfunctional. It's called dysfunction. In other words, you're not functioning. Your form is not complying with intuitive intelligence that is already perfect. See, and when you're functioning healthy in a functional way, in a decent way, what you're doing is you're allowing the intuitive intelligence to do its job. Every one of us is here to fulfill a purpose, to play a role in a symphony or be in harmony with the symphony of evolution, of being better. And that's a broad statement for a broad, infinite thing that is in sync with the infiniteness of the universe itself. Itself. No gender. Okay? And we're going to talk about dominance and recessive in the next one. We're going to also get into the difference between, we got to talk about this thing that happened with the Africans. Everybody on the planet is an African because there was only one river valley where things, when the waters receded, that was Africa. Okay, so we're going to dispel all of that propaganda and that mythology and the outright lies of their Bible and their the cave. I call them the ice people. These are the mutated Africans who came out of the ice experience, and they created all of these myths, lies, and fairy tales in order to justify their inadequacies and their shame, okay, and the dysfunction that the physical form went through or came out as a result of the experience of the Ice Age and functioning in the ice cave environment. Okay, fam, we're gonna get deep into that, because from here on out, everything is about the physical form and the time-space continuum and the physics of it and the cycles that dominate it and control it, as well as the physical form. But the first thing you have to dominate and control is your instinctive intelligence of your physical form vehicle, your person, as we call it. Okay, family? One love. We'll see you in the next one. Okay? And this has been another BANTU-Morpheus video where we're focusing on the anatomy of existence and the power of belief. Take care.